Every house has a memory. Most are short-term, a coat of paint, a new carpet, a change of address, but some structures operate on a different timeline. They are vessels, designed to outlast their creators, holding onto secrets long after the voices inside them have fallen silent. In Leavenworth, Kansas, a city older than the state itself, Thad and Robin Krasniewski purchased a 140-year-old Victorian mansion on Broadway Street. They signed the deed expecting a restoration project. Instead, they initiated an archaeological excavation. Beneath the floorboards behind the plaster and sealed beneath the foundation, the house was waiting to speak, and it had been holding its breath for over a century. Leavenworth was the first city of the Kansas Territory, a frontier hub of railroad tycoons, steamboat captains, and Civil War veterans. The homes built here in the late 1800s were not merely residences, they were fortresses of wealth. When the Krasniewskis began stripping the Broadway mansion down to its bones, they assumed they were alone. During the demolition of the library, Thad reached into the shadows atop a bookshelf, a space likely untouched since the Victorian era. His hand closed around cold metal. He pulled down a Civil War presentation cane and an intricately engraved pocket watch. These were not casual losses. In the 19th century, a presentation cane was a high honor status symbol, often gifted to officers of the Grand Army of the Republic. The watch was a personalized masterpiece of engineering. Why were they left in the dust of a high shelf, rather than displayed? The Krasniewskis believed the items may have been placed there during a period of upheaval, perhaps the influenza pandemic of 1918, when entire households were emptied within days, or the chaos of the Great Depression. Whatever the circumstance, the items were hidden, not discarded. And now, Thad and Robin faced their first ethical crossroad: keep the treasure, or find the bloodline. As the renovation moved deeper into the structure, the house began to reveal the private life of its former occupants. Behind a decorative transom window, Thad discovered a hollowed-out architectural recess. It wasn't empty. Hidden inside were literary classics: Ben-Hur, The Scarlet Letter, Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. Their condition was immaculate, preserved by the stagnant air of the wall cavity. But the question lingered: why hide books inside a wall? The honest answer is, we don't know. Perhaps a child created a secret reading nook and forgot about it. Perhaps the family, fearing judgment from strict religious neighbors, concealed novels they considered too worldly. Or perhaps these volumes were simply stored and lost during a hasty move that never came. What we do know is that their preservation, intentional or accidental, kept the family's inner life intact for nearly a century. These weren't just books. They were a fingerprint of taste, belief, and imagination, sealed away for someone else to find. But it wasn't just ideas the previous owners were protecting. In the attic, a loose floorboard betrayed a secret that had been sleeping for generations. Thad spotted a metallic glint near the fireplace chimney. He pulled out glass jars, heavy and corroded. Inside was a hoard of silver coinage, dimes, quarters, half-dollars, dating between 1890 and 1916. The dates on these coins tell a story. The latest among them were minted in 1916, more than a decade before the stock market crash of 1929. This suggests the hoarding began earlier, likely during the economic uncertainties of the First World War, when banks failed and currencies collapsed across Europe. Numismatists call this panic hoarding, the instinct to convert paper wealth into physical metal when trust in institutions begins to erode. And while President Roosevelt's Executive Order 6102 in 1933 famously seized gold, silver remained legal tender. For families who had already lost faith in banks, silver coins weren't just currency, they were insurance. This wasn't lost loose change, it was a survival fund for a doomsday that never came. The relics were fascinating, the silver was valuable, but both were explainable. The basement, however, held a secret that defied logic. While mapping the foundation, the Krasniewskis noticed a discrepancy in the floor plan, a gap between the walls, a space that shouldn't exist. They broke through a sealed partition to reveal a hidden chamber, approximately 8 feet by 10 feet. But it wasn't empty. It wasn't a storage room. It had been meticulously, deliberately packed floor to ceiling with compacted dirt. The theories regarding this dead room are numerous, and none of them are comforting. Was it a Prohibition-era whiskey cache filled in to destroy the evidence before a raid? A storm shelter that collapsed and was deemed too dangerous to excavate? A root cellar that flooded and was simply abandoned? Or something else entirely? A panic room from the post-Civil War era, when violence along the Kansas-Missouri border was still fresh in memory. The fact that the chamber was sealed and buried suggests an attempt to erase history, to physically bury a memory the house no longer wanted to keep. Thad and Robin have been excavating the soil bucket by bucket for months. So far, they've removed over 2 tons of earth. They've found fragments of broken pottery, a single leather button, and what appears to be the rotted remnants of a wooden shelf. No answers yet, but they're still digging, and the house, it seems, isn't finished talking. Under the antique legal concept of treasure trove, the finders are often the keepers. The silver, the relics, they legally belong to the Krasneskis. But Thad and Robin understood something that the law doesn't always capture. Possession and ownership are 2 different things. Thad spent weeks researching census records, military archives, and genealogical databases. He tracked down the living descendants of the original Civil War veteran who had owned the cane and watch. And then he gave them back. A circle that had been broken for over a century was finally closed. But the Krasneskis didn't stop there. They turned the renovation into a community project, hosting metal-detecting fundraisers on the property to support the local historical society. Neighbors who had never set foot inside the mansion were now part of its story. The house has also become a sanctuary of a different kind. Thad and Robin now care for a rotating cast of rescue cats, strays given a second chance inside walls that have seen more than their share of second chances. They realized they were never the owners of the Broadway mansion. They were simply its current custodians. The house has taken much from history, but now it is being fed new memories. As the walls are closed up, Thad and Robin are leaving their own time capsules, handwritten letters, photographs, current currency, headlines from today, tucked into the wooden frame. Artifacts for a future they will never see. Someday, perhaps 100 years from now, another pair of hands will pry back these boards. They will find the letters, the coins, and the echoes of a world that no longer exists. They will piece together who we were, just as Thad and Robin pieced together the lives that came before. And they will realize, just as the Krasneskis did, that we never truly own these places. We just take care of them until the next ghost moves in. If this story made you think differently about the walls around you, consider subscribing. We explore forgotten histories, hidden spaces, and the secrets that buildings keep. Hit the bell so you don't miss what we uncover next. And if you have a story of your own, something you found behind drywall or beneath floorboards, leave it in the comments. Every house has a memory. Some of them are waiting for you to find. The Broadway mansion still stands on the bluff above the Missouri River, its red bricks holding firm against another century. The dead room is still being excavated. The cats are still wandering the halls, and somewhere in the spaces between the walls, there are surely more secrets waiting.